What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ideas of Ice and Fire. I wouldn't say pre-show, more like just a general discussion live stream thing. I hope everyone can hear me. This is only my second time ever doing a live stream because the previous time it didn't really work too well. Well, I do have some stuff lined up for you guys. I'm going to be talking about some stuff from the world of Ice and Fire. We're going to go over the Dawn Age, and then we're going to talk about the founding of Valyria for a little bit. And then we're going to ask some questions where I'm going to take you guys' questions about just generally A Song of Ice and Fire or Game of Thrones. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys are ready for this. And this should go on for maybe like an hour or maybe more than an hour. If it, we will see. We will see what becomes of it. But okay. But can you guys hear me? Can I get some stuff in the comments letting me know that the audio's working fine and all that? Okay, everything's great. Okay, cool. We're going to talk about the Dawn Age, all right? So, when it comes to the Dawn Age, it's a very mysterious point in time because no one actually knows when the world began. Some they go from it could be a few thousand years, maybe 40,000, and some say 500,000. Like they have no clue. Like back in that day, we didn't really have any clue either, so we just kind of made up stuff and guessed. But recorded history starts about when we start seeing recorded history. It comes from the Dawn Age, what we refer to as the Dawn Age, and this is the age of giants and the children of the forest in Westeros. Mainly, these accounts were taken from the first men when they came to Westeros and then they saw what they were doing. So let's talk about the giants for a little bit because the giants are far more mysterious than even the children because we know nothing about the giants. That all of their culture is lost. There's a really sad song in A Song of Ice and Fire called "I Am the Last of the Giants," and it's basically about how men hunted giants into extinction. And the song goes, "I am the last of the giants. My people are gone from the earth." And it's really sad, and it's about basically how men came to Westeros and took all this land and basically killed giants and destroyed their. Not only just them, the giants don't even have any history. Like we don't even know like anything about them really. And it's really sad because the children coexisted with the giants peacefully. I mean, there was some war here and there, but for the most part, there was peaceful coexisting. And then it's when men come to Westeros that everything just goes haywire. They kill off unicorns, they kill off lions, they kill off basically the giants, they kill off the children. So it's almost like in this story, George R. R. Martin is basically saying, yeah, men ruin everything. That seems to be the point of everything. Men ruin everything. Men came to Westeros and they killed off all these amazing, cool animals, and everything else is dead, and it's really sad. But when it comes to the Dawn Age, we know from the very beginning that the children of the forest hunted with dragon glass daggers. And that's part of the reason that men kind of kick their ass, because dragon glass is kind of brittle and it's not good for really biting and making weapons out of. And we have no idea why they used dragon glass. It probably has some sort of magical property that we don't know about other than the effect that it has on White Walkers. There has to be some reason they chose to use a subpar tool instead of actually learning to work metal. Now, the interesting thing about children is that not only do they not work metal or the land or anything, what they do is they live off the land. They hunt and they just pick fruit where they can. The children of the forest wouldn't go off and plant a seed or something. So the legend tells that Garth Greenhand, who is the guy in the legends that taught men how to farm and work land and stuff, he went to the children too, and he said, "Cool, I'll teach you how to do this too." And they basically laughed at him and said, "We don't need to learn how to make stuff grow. Like the land gives us everything we need. We don't need that." So they basically said, "Fuck off, dude. We can chill by ourselves." Because it's like the children of the forest seemed prideful. If you go back and you read these stories, they're always kind of prideful. They're not really interested in what man's got going on. They just want to be left to their own devices. And the major conflict was the fact that men were chopping down weirwood trees. Now, the children did not like this at all, but you see, there is a little bit of mystery here because we don't know exactly how it went down. From my point of view, it seems like men came to Westeros not knowing that it was inhabited because the children are reclusive. They can disappear into the forest basically, and they wouldn't approach like a group of men. So it's my opinion that first men came to Westeros not knowing that this place was inhabited. So just came in. Okay, if you're just coming in, we're basically having a discussion. I'll remember where I'm at, but we're basically having a discussion. We're going to talk about the Dawn Age, and we're going to talk about the founding of Valyria, and then I'm going to take you guys' questions about Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, and it's going to go on for maybe an hour to an hour and a half. But anyways, back to the Dawn Age. Oh, crap! I did forget where I was, and I said I wasn't. Back to the Dawn Age. The conflict was between the children, between men chopping down these things. Okay, the thing was, I don't think that men knew that Westeros was inhabited. They just saw weirwood trees as, oh, it's more wood so that we can make a fire or we can build a house. And they didn't see it as that. And then the children attacked just out of nowhere. They say there was no diplomacy involved. There wasn't a moment where they said, hey, maybe we should approach them and just be like, hey, maybe you guys don't get it, but these trees are special to us. It is a classic clash of cultures and civilizations. You have the children of the forest who are this forest dwelling creature that lives in the forest and lives off the land, and you have men that have to destroy nature literally to survive, because the children live off of nature. Men have to chop down trees and basically kill everything in order to prosper, really. And the children, I guess what it was is that they didn't understand each other, and the children attacked, and that is what led to the hundreds and hundreds of years of war between the children of the forest and the first men. It was a war that was founded and built off misunderstanding, if you asked me. Okay, so moving on. Like they fought forever, and then out of bitterness, the first men kept chopping down weirwood trees because, and after a while of this, basically hundreds and hundreds of years of fighting, the children, what they do is they break the arm of Dorne. Everybody knows about this, and we don't know what type of magic they use, but here is a little bit of crack pottery that I've heard going around, and I kind of buy into this more than some of the other stuff about how they actually did it. And it has to do with weirwood trees. Now, we know that the weirwood trees are trees, basically, so they have roots in the ground. The idea is basically that the weirwoods have roots that go basically all over Westeros, that connect. And so, using some power, the children can shake the roots of the weirwood trees and kind of break up the earth. But then again, that doesn't really make a lot of sense in between Essos and Westeros, because there's an ocean. You can't have tree roots in an ocean. It makes a little bit of sense for when they try to break it at the neck. But anyways, the children break the armor of Dorne to keep men from coming over. It in the long run doesn't work because the Andals come over on boats. They're like, we got boats. We can just do that. And the Andals come over and they basically completely fuck over the children of the forest. But the Andal invasion is not before the Long Night, which is something that a lot of people are confused about. Hi, Mari. You're awesome, too. Thanks, everyone, for coming. The Long Night did not happen after the Andals came, all right? That is the thing that a lot of people are confused about, and I think it has something to do with Leaf saying that we were at war in the show. She says, we were at war, so we created the others. And that confuses a lot of people. That could mean a few different things, too. But what we know, and what is fact from history, this is recorded history, the Andals arrived several thousands of years after the Long Night, all right? And so that means the implications of that are that the children of the forest had to have created the others, the White Walkers, during the time of peace, during the Age of Heroes. The Long Night is the event that ended the Age of Heroes. So the children of the forest and the first men had made a pact, and basically the pact said that, men, you get basically everything, and the children will just go back into the woods and we'll just chill out in the woods. And that's going on for like 2,000 years until basically, I guess, the children say, you know what, fuck this, we're gonna go get back our land. And so they create the others, the bane of humanity. Winter comes down upon Westeros, and death and darkness is rained down upon the people. And then the children are like, oh my god, this is completely blown up in our faces. Even like our sacred trees are freezing over and dying. And so eventually they're like, okay, we gotta do something. We gotta get together with men. I don't know exactly why they needed men, but yeah, whatever they did, and we don't know what they did. We have no idea what they did, but whatever they did defeated the others. But they weren't completely defeated, it seems like. But here is an even more interesting idea. The scene that we saw. No. Well, maybe it's kind of crackpottery, but here's an interesting idea. You remember the scene that we see where it's Leaf and the other children making the first White Walker? We all assume that that's the first White Walker. How do we know that this isn't a more recent point in time? How do we know that they weren't looking back to like 50 years ago? How do we know that the White Walkers weren't completely defeated the first time, and this is an enemy that the children recreated because they were trying the same plot again for some reason, or perhaps for some other reason, and now it's gone bad again and they've completely fucked up again? I know that's totally crackpot, but it's an interesting thought. Okay, so that is the Dawn Age, really, and after the Andals get there, after the Long Night, after after the first men and the children defeat the others, basically the children retreat, they go off wherever, and they're almost completely diminished at that point, and then the Andals get there, and then they completely finish off the children. And even the children don't even have the deep wood anymore, because if they did, deep wood moat wouldn't exist. So the children were the ultimate losers in this whole entire thing. And so after the Dawn Age, it's time to move on to some more. I'm flipping through the world of Ice and Fire here. It's time to move on to some more stuff that I'm kind of really interested to talk about, and that is the founding of Valyria. Now, there is a lot of mystery around the founding of Valyria, because the Valyrians, the people in that area, were just sheep herders, goat herders, and stuff like that. They didn't have any magic. They were a simple people, and then all of a suddenly, out of nowhere, and this is. The Valyria rises sometime after the Long Night, basically right after the Long Night. After Westeros is recovering from the Long Night, Valyria is rising in Essos. It's like right after that. So I think it's important to note that right after this Long Night, this winter, when the others take over the world, dragons are born in Valyria, and then with dragons, these Valyrians take over the world. So it is an interesting parallel. First, we have the White Walkers coming down and taking over everything, and then we have the Valyrians on dragons taking over everything with fire. First, the world was conquered with ice, and then that gets messed up, and then the world is conquered with fire, and eventually that gets messed up too because Valyria sinks into the ground. So yeah, that is definitely an interesting parallel to think about. Yes, I am live. And I will repeat myself one more time, but then I'm not going to repeat myself again for a while because I don't want this to get too annoying when people try to rewatch this. But what I am doing is that I've talked about the Dawn Age for like the first 15 minutes, and now I'm going to talk about the founding of Valyria, and then the most big part will be me taking you guys' questions on A Song of Ice and Fire and on Game of Thrones. You know, the new episode comes out tonight. I know a lot of people didn't have a lot of questions for the Q&A because the last episode wasn't, the most exciting episode. So yeah. So that's what's going on here, guys. So back to the founding of Valyria. Okay. Well, another important thing to mention about the others is that the world of Ice and Fire does say that some people in the world speculate that the others were no more than just a group of first men that were way north for some reason, and that they only came south because they were trying to escape the winter. And that's why they conquered. I mean, that's what and then through the tales and legends, they were turned into the others because, history is written by the people that win. And that is true even in A Song of Ice and Fire. But back to Valyria. Okay. We know that there were dragons in Westeros before, at least before the Valyrians came to Westeros. There are dragon skulls all over the world. They're not just in Valyria. In fact, in the world of Ice and Fire, it says that perhaps it's in some stories that the dragons were brought to the Valyrians by these people from this place called the Shadow, and they also taught the Valyrians magic. They taught them how to create this strange stone that they can manipulate into any shape, basically. And they taught them how to breed and tame dragons, most importantly. So people from the shadow, and this is from the World of Ice and Fire. If you have the World of Ice and Fire, the most important bits of this book to read are the sidebars, because the sidebars are actually the little bits of information that are written by George R.R. Martin. So if he writes that, best believe it's important. But apparently, the Valyrians were taught how to do magic and how to tame dragons from these people from the shadow. Now, if you've seen my most recent A Song of Ice and Fire theory video on Ashai, then you know that there is a place further on past Ashai, in the heart of the shadow, and there is an ancient city there called Stigai. And in that ancient city, we don't know exactly what lies there, but it became clear to me from that video, I mean, not from the video, from my research, that George R. Martin is referencing H.P. Lovecraft, and he's referencing the Cthulhu mythos specifically, and the Black Stone has to do with that as well. So it seems like the conclusion from that video that I concluded was there was an entity in the heart of darkness, and that entity was R'hllor, or at least the being that people think is R'hllor, the being that is sleeping, this abstract cosmic force. It's not like this god is going to pop up one day and be like, hey, I'm a god. No. It's completely abstract. It's completely unknowable, but it has a very subtle effect on the minds of people, and it can affect them, and all these religions are formed around it, and George R. Martin is referencing this. So this is what I think is going on. And these, from the shadow, people from East, people that lived in Ashai before anybody lived in Ashai, because no one now that lives in Ashai is descended from the people that built Ashai. Nobody knows who built Ashai. It's just been there. So what this is saying to me is that these people from the shadow, these magical people, are the ones that came to Valyria and taught them how to do their spells and how to bring dragons. And that totally fits into my idea of, Ice and Fire. Two entities on either side of the world, one in the heart of darkness past Ashai, and one far, far north in the heart of winter, way in the north, where the power source of the White Walkers, obviously. Now, there is a quote in A Game of Thrones, and let me see if I can find that really quick for you guys. You're gonna hear some clicking on the keyboard as I try and look this up, because this was in my Ashai video, but it's very important. It's from Bran's a Bran chapter in A Game of Thrones, and it's when he's first waking up from his coma, and the three-eyed crow is trying to tell him why he needs to live. And basically, this is what Bran sees. He basically sees everything, but these are the important parts that he sees. Oh, God. Okay. I got to go grab my Game of Thrones book off the shelf, and then I'll read you guys this quote. Okay. So here is what Bran sees. I'll read the entire thing for you guys because I'm so nice. I'm afraid. Look down. Bran looked down and he felt his insides turn to water. This isn't a dream. The ground was rushing up at him now. The whole world was spread out below him, a tapestry of white and brown and green. He could see everything so clearly that for a moment he forgot to be afraid. He could see the whole realm and everyone in it. He saw Winterfell as the eagles see it, the tall towers looking squat and stubby from above, the castle walls just lines in the dirt. He saw Maester Luwin on his balcony, studying the sky through a polished bronze tube and frowning as he made notes in a book. He saw his brother Robb, taller and stronger than he remembered him, practicing swordplay in the yard with real steel in his hand. He saw Hodor, the simple giant from the stables, carrying an anvil to Micken's forge, hefting it onto his shoulder as easily as another man might heft a bale of hay. At the heart of the Godswood, the great white weirwood brooded over its reflection in the black pool. I wonder what's in that black pool, too. Okay, back where I am. I lost my place that quick. Its leaves rustling in a chill wind When it felt Bran watching, it lifted its eyes from the still waters and stared back at him knowingly. So the fucking werewood tree looks up at him. What the hell is going on? Okay, let's continue. Okay, it gets even better than this. He looked east and saw the galley racing across the waters of the Bight. He saw his mother sitting alone in a cabin, looking at the bloodstained knife on the table in front of her. That's Catelyn on her way to King's Landing, obviously. As the rowers pulled at the oars, Sir Roderick leaned across the rail, shaking and heaving. He basically sees everything. Blah, 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 blah. Well, let me get to the part that I wanted to talk about. Okay. He lifted his eyes and saw clear across the narrow sea to the free cities, and the green Dothraki sea, and beyond to Vaes Dothrak, under its mountains to the fabled lands of the Jade Sea, to Asshai by the shadow, where dragons stirred beneath the sunrise. Bran sees into Asshai by the shadow, and he says he looked into Asshai by the shadow, where dragons stirred beneath the sunrise. So this is in a Game of Thrones. This is before Dany's dragons were born. Bran sees dragons in Asshai. So you know what this means? That means that there are dragons in Asshai. There were already dragons in the world before Dany's dragons were even born. This is a vision that the three-eyed crow is showing him. He's telling Bran to fly, and he's saying fly, and Bran is like, I can't fly, and he's like, you have to, and I'm going to show you why. And he basically shows him the entire world, and he shows him east, and then he shows him the north. All right, okay, here, and the north is even crazier. This is what Bran sees in the north. Finally, he looked north. He saw the wall shining like blue crystal, and his bastard brother Jon sleeping alone in a cold bed, his skin growing pale and hard as the memory of all warmth fled from him. And he looked past the wall, past endless forests cloaked in snow, past the frozen shore and the great blue white rivers of ice and the dead plains where nothing grew or lived. North and north and north he looked, to the curtain of light at the end of the world, and then beyond that curtain. He looked deep into the heart of winter, and then he cried out afraid, and the heat of his tears burned on his cheeks. Bran looked into the heart of winter. So Bran sees dragons, and he sees the heart of winter, which is, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So that means that dragons had to already exist before Daenerys, which is an interesting thought, and it's something that you would completely overlook reading A Game of Thrones, because that event, we're led to believe that this is just such a huge, major thing that her dragons are born, and then the comet seems to prove it. But Bran sees dragons; he already saw them. Like, what the hell? And if you remember in Game of Thrones, also, Daenerys asks one of her handmaidens, she says, "Aren't there dragons in the east too?" And they're like, "Haha, no dragons anywhere." So, yeah, but apparently we were wrong. So, in my Asshai video, I basically concluded that this place, Styggai, was the home of the god that people think is R'hllor, because it's the fiery home of dragons. It's in the midst of the volcanic mountains of the Morn, covered in perpetual shadow, and as Melisandre tells us, shadows are creatures of the light. So, of course, the place that's covered in shadow, there's a light at the center of Styggai, and that is the home of R'hllor, I think, essentially. But as I said, abstract. It's not like he's going to pop out and be like, I'm R'hllor, ever. No, it's super subtle. It's super cosmic. We don't matter. People don't matter. The Song of Ice and Fire is the game of these cosmic forces that are completely abstract, completely subtle, and will never manifest in a way that mankind can comprehend. All right? Which is awesome. It's awesome. It's so fucking cool, because as George R. Martin has said, there will never be any gods that just show up. So that's not happening. But yeah. And Asshai, we need to learn more about that. I feel like Dany... Okay, here's a cool thing. Quaithe in the books tells Dany to venture east to go west. If there are more dragons in the east, I mean, could Dany possibly have an army of dragons? Like, oh, holy crap. Now that's an interesting idea, but I digress. So that's what I wanted to talk about in regards to Valyria. It is claimed to be, like, in the World of Ice and Fire, it said that there is a that according to some legends, it is founded by people that come from this place called the Shadow. And like the reason that has credibility to me is because it all ties into Lovecraft. The black stone that's all over the world is from Lovecraft. The Valyrians were the only people that knew how to forge this crazy black stone. That's why Dragonstone has got all these crazy gargoyles that no one knows how they built, because they had this magic that they were taught by these people from the Shadow. And the people from the Shadow are the cosmic entities from, or at least were influenced by the cosmic entities that are referenced by Lovecraft. And that's what I think is going on here. All right. So that is Valyria. It is time for me to be answering you guys' questions. I know you guys think I've been ignoring the chat, but I've been looking at everything you guys have been saying, and I'm very disappointed. No, I'm kidding. You guys are great. All right, so if you have a question, please type Q&A bold before you type it so I can weed out the questions from just people that are just saying stuff. Okay, here we go. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this onslaught. I gotta wait for you guys to catch up to this, though I know there's like a mild delay. I don't do live streams, actually. This is my first time. Oh, not my first time. This is my first successful live stream. This is my second live stream, though, on this channel. I finally figured out how to set it up. It still says starting soon. I should probably take that off. It started 30 minutes ago. How do I do that? Remove. There we go. And then I'll just move this here. And great. Q&A. Hey, man, I'm new here. I would like to know... Oh, God, it's moving so fast. I would like to know what you believe about Azor Ahai. Is Jon Snow the real one? Why is the series slowing down for the big reveal? Is Jon Snow Azor Ahai? I mean, he could be. Let's move on. Who cares? At this point, who the hell cares? Could the Black Pool at Winterfell be an ice dragon? I think that something could be in that Black Pool. Definitely. I think that Black Pool definitely holds some secret. Whether or not it's an ice dragon, I don't know. It could be the place where an ice dragon melted, because according to the world of Ice and Fire, the reason that we don't have the remains of ice dragons is because they melt, basically. Okay. Do you think Lady Stoneheart will happen, or some version of that? Maybe some version, but I don't think it'll actually involve Catelyn Stark. I don't think she's coming back for the show. No way. And plus, George R. R. Martin has already said no, apparently, that she's not coming back for the show. Do you think Bran, Three-Eyed Crow, is the Great Other? It is definitely a possibility. Oh, what is that? What is the quote? I'll find this quote that refers to... There is Melisandre's vision, where she sees Bran and the Three-Eyed Crow, and she says, these must be servants of the Great Other. But there is also the quote that that the Three-Eyed Crow actually tells Bran. Okay, here it is. Never fear the darkness, Bran. The Lord's words were accompanied by faint rustling of wood and leaf, a slight twisting of his head. The strongest trees are rooted in dark places of the earth. Darkness will be your shield, will be your cloak, your shield, your mother's milk. Darkness will make you strong. And darkness is associated with ice and death and cold in Melisandre's religion. Now, you gotta separate darkness from shadow, because Melisandre also says that shadows can't exist in the dark because shadows are creatures of the light. But still, the place that Sagai is called the Heart of Darkness, but it's also called the Heart of the Shadow. So you can take that however you want. Take it with a grain of salt if you want. So I think that it is a distinct possibility, I think. Why they introduced all the Dorne characters, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. Who knows why they did that? It was terrible. They should have never even done that. They should have focused on a different storyline, like the Greyjoy storyline in Season 5 instead of Dorne. I really loved your recent Ashai video. You have an excellent voice performance. Have you considered doing voice roles in Hollywood? Oh, no. Oh, no. No. Do you think the Red Priests are old Valyrians who survived the Doom? Oh, God, that is such... Look, honestly, if Melisandre was a Red Priestess, you would think that she would know more about magic, because she doesn't... I mean, she knows a lot. She knows probably more than anybody that's alive right now, but, like, she seems to be confused about a lot of stuff. I mean, maybe. I feel like if Melisandre is from the Doom of Valyria, then she was probably a child during that time, because if not, she would probably know more, I think. What are your thoughts on the potential end game of the show and the books? I'm not gonna say, because I do have a few videos coming up, and I kind of want to save that. I'm not even gonna answer it. Is there a way for the series writers to destroy the plot even further? Oh, there are ways. What's the most awful scenario you can imagine? Okay, let's see. Let's see. This is the most terrible one that I can imagine. Let's see. The Greyjoys get to Marine. Daenerys flies back, and she basically kills the freaking wise masters and stuff, and is basically like, I got dragons. And then she takes the Dothraki to Westeros on Asha and Yara's ships, and they get there, and basically the Dothraki are being mean at first, but then she's all like, chill, bro. And the Dothrakis completely abandon their culture, and they're just like, we're just gonna get in the culture. And then Daenerys marries Jon Snow, and they have sex, and then they become the Song of Ice and Fire, and those two march off into battle and destroy the White Walkers. That would be the worst ending for me, because that's exactly what I don't want to happen. It needs to be way like that's exactly where everyone. That's exactly like Tyrion, Dany, and Jon are gonna ride a dragon, and they're all gonna fight the White Walkers. That's where everyone else wants it to go, but I feel like it should go a different way. That would be terrible, honestly. Do you think that Syrio Forel is still alive? Please answer. It's a distinct possibility. I can't say either way whether he is or not. I mean, for all we know, Syrio Forel could be a faceless man. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's Jaqen, though, because a lot of people are confused about what it means to be a faceless man. Jaqen Hagar is dead. This is some guy that probably died maybe even hundreds of years ago. Who knows when this Jaqen guy lived? But all we know is that the guy that's wearing Jaqen's face is not him. All right, so it doesn't matter who is wearing the face, because that person is no one. All that matters is the persona that they're taking on. So, if is Syrio alive? If he is a faceless man, then no, he can't be alive. But that person that was wearing his face could be. Will we see Arya warring into Nymeria and lead an army of wolves in the books? Yes. And the show? I don't think so. I don't think it's in their budget. We only got 13 episodes left, apparently, guys. We got 7 episodes in season 7, and then 6 in season 8, and that just makes me really sad. I depressed myself even just repeating that information. Is Bran possessed by Bloodraven? Oh God, that is an interesting one. It's kind of I don't know. I don't have enough information. I mean, as far as I've seen, it doesn't appear that he is. Okay. It's time to look at Twitter questions. I've got 6 new notifications. Oh. What do you think Peter Baelish's end goal is, and how good do you reckon his chances are coming on top is? I think they're slim, because I think that the game that Peter Baelish is playing is not the game that matters. What matters is the White Walkers and this crazy bitch with dragons that's on her way to Westeros with all these Dothrakis. That's what matters, Peter. Not the silly Iron Throne, so how can he come out on top? How can he? Oh God, I'm messing up my chat. Okay. Is the Blackfish fucked? Unless he surrenders. I mean, how could he get out of this situation? Unless, he's basically fucked. Like, what could he do? You've got the Lannisters and the Freys outside. Dude, you're not gonna live. You might as well just give up. I know he's gonna defend. The Blackfish is super prideful. He's gonna defend his home forever. But at the end of the day, it's going to be futile. So that's why I don't get it. That's why, when I said that he cares more about this honor bullshit and, oh, this is my house, than protecting your people. I mean, Jaime is sincerely coming to you and say, I know Jaime has a reputation. I get it. I get why he doesn't trust the Lannisters. I get why he doesn't trust the Freys. I get it. But at the end of the day, there's a chance that they can be saved. And you're not going to be able to keep this castle for much longer. And what are you doing? Like, either accept the chance that they're going to be saved, or just, I guess you're just willing to die in Riverrun. And I don't believe he has 2 years of provisions. I feel like that's a lie. But yeah. That's how I feel about the Blackfish. I love the character, though. He's great. Since the show is kind of destroyed, Lady Stoner storyline, how do you think they will redeem Jaime? I don't know. They're doing their own thing. They're doing their own thing with it. I mean, Jaime has been redeemed for the most. What do you mean exactly by redeem? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by redeem. How does the book come out? How does the book come out early after this season ends? We have no idea when the book comes out. Hopefully it comes out this year or early next year. That's what I'm hoping. But I'll wait. I'll wait as long as it takes. Since the show, okay, no, I already read that. The waif is Arya theory. Your thoughts? That's the theory that the waif is Arya. How is that? How does that work? How does it? Is that like a weird shadow self versus your real self thing? You know, is that like a kind of dark side of yourself thing? But then she kind of stabbed the fuck out of herself and left herself to die in the streets. So that's not a nice thing to do to yourself, I don't think. What do you think of George as a person, as an author, or as a god? Basically a god. No, I mean, he's a human being. I mean, he's a person. I mean, I do admire him a lot. I've spent so much time just watching just long, like he has like all these hour long just talks, like he did talks at like Google and stuff like that, and I'll watch him for hours, and I'll just go back and watch one that I've already seen and just watch it for as long as possible because he's great. He really is great. Fight Club theory. I might get a lot of hate on the internet for this, but I've never seen Fight Club. Never seen it. Never seen it. I know people are gonna hate me for that. I know it's a big cult classic movie. I've never seen it, but wait, I think I do know the twist. Is that the guy that was popping up was never around? Was never there the entire time. Pretty sure I saw that the entire twist. So it's like she was. So what you're saying to me, the waif was just never there. Uh, that's kind of weird. Who am I rooting for in the long time? I'm rooting for the small folk. I am glad you asked me that. I don't give a fuck about the Starks and the Lannisters and the Targaryens. All these people, all the peasants and the minor people that just get shit on every day because these stupid high lords are playing their Game of Thrones and just doing whatever they want with reckless disregard for the people. That's who I'm rooting for. I want the people to come together and tear down this whole fucking system of feudalism. I mean, fuck the Warden of the North, fuck the Warden of the West, fuck the King, to quote the Hound. No, screw all of those people. It's the common people. All right? That's who I'm rooting for. All right. Will the wall come down this season? I think that would be the perfect end to this season. Seeing the pace of this season, I think will be the perfect end. Mm-hmm. Am I rooting for the Brotherhood? I mean, not after what they did to the Hounds group. Definitely not. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you hate the show for letting out Aegon? I don't hate them that much, honestly. I don't hate them that much. That was a plot point that I kind of just wanted Aegon to die anyways, because I'm just kind of like, ugh, you're kind of throwing a wrench in Dany's whole plan. Get the fuck out of here, dude. The fuck out of here, you know? I agree. Yeah. Screw the kings. Like, who wants to be ruled over by some guy that you didn't even vote for, and he just tells you what to do just because his dad was king. The frick wants that? Screw that. Do you think that the Night's King is Dario Naharis? No, I don't. I don't think that the Night's King is Dario Naharis. Do you think that? Okay, gotta stop. Do you think that Jaime will redeem? Will re- How would he do that? I didn't even read the question because I couldn't. You're asking me if you think that Jaime will redeem his promise to the Blackfish by following up on the promise he made to Catelyn. The promise was to bring back her daughters, and I don't know how he's going to do that. I don't see how would Jaime do that. He doesn't know where they are, but his idea of where they are is just as good as the Blackfish's idea because no one knows except for Jon. And now I guess there should be rumors now, right? Or maybe not, because Jon and Sansa have been doing a little bit of traveling around. Shouldn't people be kind of realizing now that Sansa Stark is still alive? And that's another thing. Did anyone in King's Landing mention that Ramsay Bolton had married Sansa Stark? Because I remember from the books that Cersei is kind of like still fucking looking for Sansa, and she's totally pissed off that Sansa killed Joffrey, and she totally still wants Sansa dead. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't remember if anyone in the show even mentioned it. What if the High Sparrow denies Cersei her request for trial by combat? How could he deny it? That is her right. I mean, that would be like a complete like. Fuck, like that's against the law. I mean, that's You know, let the gods decide. That's the whole point. You let the gods decide by doing a trial by combat. That's her right as a citizen, certainly as queen. How long do you take to do your research for videos like you did on a shy? It's a never-ending process. Like a lot of the video, a lot of the initial idea for the video, a lot of times it comes out of me just wanting to make a video on a shy, and as I do more research on it, I realize how it ties into other things, and it usually takes generally a few days to do the research and then a few days to do the editing. The dreams of the understanding the birth of dragons video, that video took way longer than that. That video took about 2 or 3 weeks to do because it was just really difficult. A lot of shit went into making that video, but usually I'd say from the idea to the finish, probably a week to make a typical video. Do you think Jorah will find a cure? I mean, has anyone ever been cured? I mean, Shireen was cured. I mean, okay, look. All these red priests are showing up. In the book, there is a red priest called Makoro, and he seems pretty powerful. He does cure Victarion's hand of something. Like, Victarion, I think he has a cut or something, and his hand is infected, and he might have to lose the hand. The Maester guy's like, I'm going to have to chop off your hand. Victarion's not in the books, basically. I mean, he's not in the show, but he is in the book. And basically, Makoro, the Red Priest, he does some kind of magic that involves Victarion sticking his hand into like a fire, and it heals his hand, but his hand is all black and burnt. But it's completely healed, and it completely works, and he's even stronger than he was before. So, I mean, if some Red Priest, because I feel like Quaithe is going to show up again eventually, because she has to tell Dany what she has to do. Quaithe is Dany's guy, and if you don't remember Quaithe, she's basically, I'll look up, I should be using this so I can show you guys all this stuff that I'm talking about. Why haven't I been using this? This has been going on for 45 minutes. That's why I have this here. What the hell is this? I typed it wrong, didn't I? So if you remember Quaithe, yeah, I feel like she has to show up again because she's Dany's guide in the book. She basically pops up and she's like, okay, now you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do that. So if you remember, yeah, she talked to Jorah in season 2 and she's all like, yeah, you got to go help. She didn't really talk to Dany. In the show, she talks to Jorah about everything. So she might be the one that cures Jorah because she is a red priestess. That might be Makaro. So that'd be awesome. Okay. Do you think that the missing Kingsguard member at the Tower Jorah will have something to do with the location of the new Targaryen? Maybe. I don't know. So these are hard to answer because if that was in the book, I would say probably because George R. R. Martin wouldn't do that unless it had some kind of meaning. But when we look at the stuff in the show, they just forget about stuff a lot of times. And they just kind of change stuff and mix stuff up, and there's inconsistencies all the time. So we just don't know if it's a mistake or if it had something to do with something. You think Quaithe is Dany? Elaborate. Oh, Quaithe is Dany's Bloodraven. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think that Davos has found out about Shireen yet, or will he skip his... I think that Davos knows deep down that Shireen is dead and that Melisandre probably had something to do with it. It just hasn't been addressed yet, but eventually it will be. What if Old Nan is right about and everything just happens inside of the eye of a blue-eyed giant named Makamba? Your thoughts? I mean, as James Johnson says, another guy that does videos on A Song of Ice and Fire, George R. R. Martin is the blue-eyed giant. That's what that is referring to. George R. R. Martin, that's himself. He is the god. And all these characters are inside his eye. They're in his mind, coming from his mind. What do you think is the purpose of the Night King attacking humans? I think it is in part nature. The children of the forest created the bane of humanity. They created what they thought would be the ultimate destructive force against mankind. And unfortunately, it totally backfired and it kind of screwed them over. But he instinctively just wants to kill. That's what he is. He is death. But I don't think this character exists in the books. I think that there's no figurehead at the lead of the White Walkers. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, and the White Walkers could have a whole culture and stuff, and it could be just some other stuff. Knowing George R. R. Martin, who knows? Who knows? Do you think the wall will fall this season? Yes, I already answered that, yeah. Okay. Maybe because they fucked the children. Yeah. Okay. The White Walkers did fuck. I think it was the children that fucked the White Walkers over because I'm pretty sure in their minds they still have some inkling of free will, and they don't want to be controlled by the children of the forest. They were probably like, "What the fuck? Okay, I'll do your bidding for now, but like once we get powerful enough, I'm gonna break free from you." And that's what happened. They did their bidding for a little bit, and once they amassed their own power some type of way, they broke free from the children, and the children could no longer control them. So yeah, um, Lord of the Rings versus us. Who is banging on the walls? Someone's banging on the walls in this house. Lord of the Rings versus the Song of Ice and Fire. Why would you ask me that? Ha! Oh, I couldn't possibly a Song of Ice and Fire. I love Lord of the Rings, but you know, a Song of Ice and Fire is the superior series in my opinion. Definitely. Do you think Mel will commit suicide on a pyre, maybe to sacrifice for the purpose, or will she be killed? Melisandre committing suicide. Well, she certainly seems depressed enough for this season to commit suicide. She's every time you see Melisandre, she's just moping around like, "Oh, my God doesn't love me anymore." Well, like, who cares? It's like Davos said, who cares about this stupid God? Clearly, you have power. Like, you brought this man back from the dead, so you have power of your own. And it doesn't matter if you have faith in the God or not, because you didn't have faith when you brought Jon back, and it still worked. So, yeah. Have you considered writing yourself? I am a writer. Who would win, Tommen Bombal versus the what? Oh, I couldn't read it. It was going too fast. Slow down. Oh, already answered that. Question: is there a chance that ice dragons exist? It's more than a chance. It's a likelihood that ice dragons exist in the world of Ice and Fire. There's a point specifically made about this place called the Shivering Sea, about how they'll find ships that have just been completely frozen, just like everything's just frozen ice, like all the men, the crew, and everything just frozen, and they'll be like, what the fuck, like how did that happen? And it's ice dragons, because ice dragons are like 3 times the size of normal dragons, and when they breathe, it's like pure just ice, and like everything freezes. It's like the coldest thing possible, like kind of how dragon fire is like the hottest shit possible. Like a dragon, ice dragon's ice would be like the coldest shit possible, so it can just freeze really quick and really hard, and they melt when they die. So, yeah. So there aren't any bones or anything anywhere because they melt. Who is banging on I'll be right back, guys. I'm getting pissed off. No respect in this house. What is the origin of ice dragons? We don't know the origin of ice dragons. We don't know. We just got like, we have this kind of offhand thing in the world of Ice and Fire, and there's also George R. R. Martin's other book, his children's book, The Ice Dragon, which takes place in a world that has long seasons and long summers and stuff like that. And in that story, the ice dragon ends up fighting like 3 regular dragons, and those dragons die, but the ice dragon also dies and he melts. So Ice Dragon, it's a cool story. It's a kid's story. So you know, yeah, they probably exist. Now, as for will we see one in the series, in this series, I don't know, maybe. But the thing with George R. R. Martin is that the Song of Ice and Fire, this story, is not the only story that he wants to tell in Westeros and Essos on this planet. Like, he has other stories that don't involve, you know, Dany and Jon and Tyrion and all this stuff. So if he wanted to put an ice dragon, it could very well appear in this world. I mean, the world of Ice and Fire is the world of Ice and Fire. It's not just the novels that we know. It's the entire world. And he wants to do more stuff. He said that in interviews and stuff, that he wants to do more stuff in this universe. Okay. Is George R. R. Martin holding back on releasing the books? No, I don't think so. I think he just wants it to be perfect. And he's a perfectionist. He's like me. Like, he doesn't, like, cause me, every time I put up a video, every time I'm editing, I'm just like, oh my God, this is probably like my worst video ever. And then it's not until I get the finished product that I look at it and I'm like, okay, it actually was better than I thought, because I have to, like, I'm not really a perfectionist because I am kind of lazy, and I do kind of let stuff slip sometimes. But for the most part, when you want something to be perfect, it's gonna take a long time. What's the importance of Storm's End? If Bran the Builder created, okay, I get what you're asking me. Storm's End, interesting castle. According to the myth, the guy that lived at that castle, he fell in love with the sea gods, the daughter of the god of the sea and the goddess of the wind, or something like that. He fell in love with their daughter, and he took them, and he married her, and he built this castle, Storm's End. Now, during their wedding, the storm god is all pissed off, so he blows down the castle, and it kills like all the guests. But his sea wife, or whatever, his god wife, protects him from dying. And so he makes it his mission to build a castle that the gods cannot tear down. So he builds like 7 castles, and finally, the last castle, with the help of Bran the Builder, he builds a castle that, since then, the gods have not been able to tear down. Now, that's the legend. That's the legend, so yeah. What is the origin of the Black Stone alien artifacts? They are the origins of... Okay. Blackstone, it comes from the Deep Ones, in my opinion. The mythical beings from the ocean, from the sea. Check out my video, The Mystery of the Five Forts, if you want to know more about the Deep Ones. Basically, they live in the ocean. They are probably in the Bleeding Sea in Essos. They probably built the 5 forts. The people on Toad Isle in Essos are descended from the Deep Ones, likely. Look it up. There's a lot of interesting stuff on them. There's a maester from the Iron Islands that thought that the Deep Ones likely built the Sea Stone Chair. He also thought that they likely built the base of Hightower, Battle Island. Okay, so it's all like every place that they pop up is pretty much related to the ocean for the most part. For the most part, there's usually there's water near 5 forts. There's a Bleeding Sea right there. Battle Island, it's a freaking island. The Sea Stone Chair. Deep Ones, it came from the ocean. They're monsters that came from the ocean, and they like to breed with people, and their descendants are actually still alive, Toad Isle. So you guys can look that up, or just check out my video on the 2 forts if you want to know more about that. Okay. There's a lot going on. So we got a few more minutes left in the stream, guys. I'm going to take a few more questions. I think the World of Ice and Fire is spherical, and the 5 forts... Definitely, the 5 forts and the wall are definitely related. I think they were built for the same reason, to keep out the threat. To keep out some mysterious threat that threatened all of existence. How do you think Arya will meet Nymeria? Will it happen before the war? How will she meet Nymeria? I mean, she dreams of Nymeria, so she'll probably be out on the Riverlands, and she'll sense Nymeria, and then they'll kind of just meet each other. It's fate. It's her destiny, which is why I know she's gonna meet her in the books, because it's destiny. She dreams about that wolf like every night. It's destiny. It's fate. What if George R. Martin dies? Oh, don't even say that, man. Don't even say that. Which major character will die this season? Major, perhaps Jaime. I feel like Jaime's story might end this season. If not Jaime, maybe Cersei. Jaime or Cersei, probably, I think, will end up getting... But I kind of want an epic moment for Cersei, because I want Cersei to burn down King's Landing. I feel like that would be the best, coolest thing that I've ever seen. Is the Faceless God and the God of Death the same being? Yes. Yes, the Faceless God is... Wait, no, there's no Faceless God. He's the many-faced God, and he's the God of Death. He doesn't discriminate. He just kills everybody. Yeah. The God of Death. Do you think that Jaime will be the one to kill Cersei when she's about to burn King's Landing? Possibly go nuts after Tommen being killed. Okay. I was on the God Thrones podcast with Johnny and Alex. And basically we had this idea that Cersei would be about to burn King's Landing. And that because Jaime loves her so much, and he always tells her, you and I are the only 2 in the world, that he'll let her do it instead of doing his duty like he did. Well, not his duty. Instead of killing her. Like, he doesn't want to be the Queen Slayer, too, because everyone gives him shit for what he did last time. So this time, when Cersei's got the wildfire and she's about to light it, he's going to be like, I'm just gonna let her do it, and he's gonna say the things I do for love, and then she's gonna light it on fire, and they're gonna kiss each other as King's Landing burns, and that would be totally awesome because they were brought into the world together, and they should probably die together, I think. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what I hope. That would be like my awesome ending for it, because Cersei is I mean, just to put it plainly, Cersei is a bad bitch, and like as much as you hate Cersei, I mean, she is about her shit. I mean, she is fucking an idiot sometimes, and she's so fucking stupid, and she acts on emotion. But she's fucking one nuts and crazy bitch. That's why I love her. And I love her antics. What can I say? She deserves a fucking cool ass, fucking fiery death. Okay, so that's the end of the live stream, guys. It's been an hour. I gotta go get ready to watch Game of Thrones, I guess. It's coming on tonight. What's the name of this episode? I don't even know. I haven't even looked at the trailer for it. See, guys, I'm not even halfway as prepared as you guys think I am with this stuff. But anyways, I will see you guys later. Go ahead and can you like this video? Give it a like if you're still here, because I don't even know, because it uploads later. I don't even know how it works. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks everyone for watching. I had a lot of people here. God, there were like fucking almost 500 people. I didn't even know. There are like 500 people here. God, am I that... I hit 30,000 subscribers today, and it's like wild. It's like insane. I've never even... this many people. But thanks everyone for subscribing. But anyways, it's been a nice live stream. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Okay, thank you guys. And I'll see you guys in the episode review.